Good morning, Big Ten fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Big Ten Morning Minutes. I'm your host, Michael Chen. You can give me a follow on the Twitter machines at MFC2123. It is Thursday, February 28th, the last day of February. And boy, those first 2 months of this year have flown by, and the news is flowing yesterday as we're going to start off with Wisconsin. And a surprise for me, I really didn't see this one happening. I understand where Alex Hornibrook is coming from as he has decided to transfer away from Wisconsin. But the incumbent starter is transferring. I mean, he would have been a senior this coming year. Obviously, Hornibrook did have some issues with his concussions. Jack Cohen obviously played the last few games of the year with Hornibrook sitting out. But a transfer from Hornibrook is just absolutely shocking, I think, for me. I don't think Paul Chryst saw this one coming. Although they have a very, very good and obviously the highest rated quarterback prospect ever coming into Wisconsin in Graham Mertz, you don't typically see a lot of true freshmen starting at the quarterback, especially when you have a senior out there that's got a lot of experience. So I thought this move was a little surprising. I can't really see Hornibrook transferring to a big-time school, to be honest with you. If I'm in his shoes, I'm looking to go to a smaller school. I'm looking to play right away, looking to find an offense that suits my capabilities. And unfortunately for him, I think that without a big-time running game that Wisconsin would offer, I think that's going to take away a lot of what he normally does through the air. Although, to be honest with you, I thought he was not one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten. So this could be a potential addition by subtraction for the Badgers, but we'll see. However, as I am still kind of a little shocked here after the news that their starting quarterback, Alex Hornibrook, will be departing the program. Yesterday, Scott Frost again announced that one of his coaches, Jordan DeWitt, will not be with the team for the spring as he has been diagnosed with cancer, which is obviously a major issue for DeWitt. So you won't see DeWitt on the sidelines this spring. Let's hope he gets taken care of everything medically and he's able to get back out to coaching the Cornhuskers players as soon as possible. It's always tough in a football family when one of your own takes a lump like this, and I'm sure he'll have plenty of people backing him and encouraging him to get through arguably one of the roughest times of his life. And then Penn State had some really good news yesterday. The wide receiver room, as I've noted multiple times, has been short. 3 transfers with a graduating senior in there. But they got one of those transfers back yesterday as a sophomore. Cam Sullivan-Brown had a change of heart. He will be returning to Happy Valley and playing for James Franklin. And I really think that this was really important for him. Although Sullivan-Brown really didn't put up a lot of stats, I think the experience, knowing the offense, I think that helps a lot as opposed to pretty much redoing the whole wide receiver core. And this is good. I think that this shows that James Franklin has a commitment to his players. If I'm not sure the whole situation with Sullivan-Brown as to what schools he was looking at, etc. However, it is very similar to when a prospect in high school, a recruit, verbally commits to a school, then decommits, and then they come back. You don't see it very often. You see it occasionally here and there, but in all reality, you don't see it very often. You saw it once this year with Daxton Hill going from Michigan to Alabama and then back to Michigan, but you just don't see it very often. And recently, especially with the way things are going, kids want a little bit more of the attention for it. But Cam Sullivan-Brown will be returning to Penn State. And then the biggest news on the hardwood yesterday, Iowa's Fran McCaffrey is going to be suspended 2 games after that little rant I mentioned yesterday after the Ohio State loss. Going after the referees in a 20-point game is absolutely ludicrous. I feel as if it was just a bad move by McCaffrey. I think that I wouldn't say that his job is on the line per se, but I do think that a lot of fans, Iowa boosters, they're kind of disappointed in McCaffrey as the majority of his teams, they peak way too early. They'll peak in January and February, and then they kind of just slide towards the end of the season. And unfortunately, I think McCaffrey's kind of feeling the heat on that. And that's potentially one of the reasons why he went after the referees, blaming them for the loss. But when you give up a career high to a freshman who's starting their second game, and the fact that your son gets a tech, and then you get one, and then the lead balloons almost immediately after that, that's just bad coaching, and obviously a bad look for the university as well. Some good news for a few universities, however, as Michigan and Purdue's head coaches, John Beilein and Matt Painter, they have been named finalists for the Naismith National Coach of the Year Award. So that's a pretty prestigious award, obviously, and it's nice to see two Big Ten coaches represented in that group. And a little bit extra news for Michigan, as well as senior guard Charles Matthews, questionable for their next game with an ankle injury. He suffered it in their last game. He said this was probably the worst injury that he's ever physically felt. So keep an eye out for what Matthews does, whether he's going to play or not. He's been resting in practice, hasn't really played much. They've got one more home game and then two more road games to the Wolverines. So I think that if I'm Matthews, I'm probably looking to get a little bit of run in your final home game as a senior. And then, if everything is equal, probably sit in the last two games, get ready for the Big Ten and NCAA tournaments, because Michigan has plenty of components to win both of those. And then CBS yesterday updated their top 25 plus one. I thought the Big Ten fared fairly well in this, as Michigan State is the highest ranked team at 7. Michigan's right behind them at 8. Purdue 13. Right behind Purdue is Maryland at 14. Wisconsin and Iowa 20 and 21. So very solid showing for the Big Ten with CBS's new rankings. So looks like the conference, the heavyweights, the good ones, everyone that's ranked obviously is going to make it. Ohio State got that huge win against Iowa. And they'll potentially, I wouldn't say they've busted their bubble and they're going to automatically make it, but I do think that they're trending in the right way, and that's, they were really the one team that was kind of the outside looking in, and they needed a huge win, and they got it the other day against Iowa. But that's going to do it for me on this morning's Big Ten Morning Minutes. I appreciate your time. Have a great last February, and we'll see you in March, Big Ten fans.